The United States is quietly rebranding its war machine, and it's doing so from the ground up. And I want to be very clear about what I am covering here. My name is Garrett Baldwin. I am the author of Me and the Money Printer on Substack. And I don't want to leave this out to war reporters right now because this is a money show. This is not really about geopolitics. At the end of the day, this is one of the largest reallocations of capital happening in the world right now, and almost nobody is really repricing this in the right manner. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because when one of the world's largest governments, the world's most powerful military machine, decides it needs to rebuild its entire industrial base, that money has to go somewhere. And that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today, where it is actually ending up. Now, we have to start with the problem itself, because admitting that there is a problem is, of course, the first stage in all situations to get us to where we need to be. America's war machine got gold-plated. So for 30 years, the entire defense industrial base got concentrated into a handful of giant contractors, all built around a few exquisite showpiece platforms. Think of a single stealth fighter jet that cost a fortune. Incredibly capable machines, but they are slow to build, brutally expensive, and nearly impossible to produce at scale. So the U.S. chased the single most advanced weapon possible and quietly lost the ability to build lots of anything very quickly. And that was fine right up until it was not. And that takes us into the next part of the conversation, which is the wars themselves. The wars exposed the whole thing in real time. Ukraine and then the Middle East rewrote the rules of modern warfare right in front of us. Suddenly you had million-dollar missiles getting used up trying to shoot down $1,000 drones. Cheap, expendable, mass-produced systems started to beat the exquisite, irreplaceable hardware, because when you run out of missiles in a week, being fancy does not matter at all. The lesson that was learned was very hard for every defense partner on Earth. Quantity has a quality of its own, and America was dangerously short on quantity. We are seeing a major shift in how warfare is done at the moment, and of course what was already transpiring in Ukraine and Russia, the significance of drone warfare, took us from a period back in World War I where a no man's land was about 100 yards. In this situation, it was 17 miles. So the key thing that we want to discuss right now is now the doctrine. And the doctrine itself has flipped. For 70 years, the American edge was having the fanciest weapon in the room. That's not true anymore. Now the edge is the ability to build. Three things matter now. First, industrial capacity. That means you can actually manufacture at scale and do so quickly. Second is cost discipline, because cheap and expendable now beats exquisite and irreplaceable. And the speed in hardware, or speed in software, is third. That's the ability, as they put it, sense, make sense, and act. Okay? With systems that must upgrade continuously, being instead of being frozen the day they roll off the line. Technological superiority alone is now no longer enough. The winner is simply whoever can make the most, the fastest. So what actually gets built? Well, it depends on what the war is. The entire industrial base rebuilt around mass and speed. Drones, cheap and expendable, made by the millions instead of by the dozens. Munitions, the boring, unglamorous stockpiles that the wars proved we run out of alarmingly fast. The software and command layer that ties all of it together and upgrades on the fly, and underneath all of it, the inputs, the chips, the rare earths, the energy, and the shipyards that the entire thing depends on. So, understand what this really is. This is a rebuild of a physical economy, not a line item in a budget. It touches factories, it touches semiconductors, it touches energy, and it touches all of the metals that are tied explicitly to this movement. Now, on top of this, as we look deeper into it, who pays for it? Well, of course, the state does directly. The government is not asking nicely, it's writing the checks. This is the exact same thing we saw with the government funding a rare earth processor. The state has decided the country needs a bigger, faster, deeper industrial base, and it is directly funding private companies to go build it. That is a different type of animal. That is not a market. That is capital by contract, and it means guaranteed multi-year demand mandated from the very top. That is the single best backdrop that a supplier could ever have. And this is the part that is pure money printer when it comes to understanding what we talk about on a day-to-day basis. The reason this belongs in the channel, watch the progression. For years, the money printer backstopped Wall Street. Then it started buying up strategic companies one at a time. This is the next level, a deliberate multi-year government-funded reindustrialization of the entire country, all under the banner of national security. And what's unique about this is that the state is no longer just buying assets, it's buying an entire industrial base. And when the printer decides to rebuild the physical economy, that money goes somewhere, and your only job is just to know where the money is actually heading. Good thing that we track that. The winners just changed. Under the old model, it was a few giant contractors, a handful of exquisite flagship platforms, cost-plus contracts, slow and unscalable processes. Under the new model, it's drones, software, mass-produced munitions, brand new entrants who can move fast, and critically, the inputs underneath all of it. The chips, the rare earths, the energy, and the shipyards. So don't just think about the same old defense giants like everyone else has over the last few years when trying to speculate around the war. It's been very interesting to watch, particularly in the wake of what happened with Iran, that a lot of the contractors were selling off during the war. That's unique, right? So think harder about who is now feeding the machine and what the market is expecting in the future of what warfare looks like. And this is one of the reasons why we continue to argue that drones are such an important choke point in the entire structure of this system. Now, here is the multiplier, right? The winners have changed. We've seen a fewer contractors. We're seeing the newer models. Don't just think about the old primes. Think about who feeds this machine. And it's happening everywhere at once, so you keep this in mind. This is not just an American build. This is a global rearmament happening everywhere at once. Europe and America's allies are rebuilding their own bases in parallel. It dovetails perfectly with that no China technology bloc that is forming right now, and it's all happening simultaneously. So this is really important to keep in mind. When the entire free world decides that it now needs to rearm at the same moment, they all end up fighting over the same chips, the same metals, the same energy. And that demand shock for the physical inputs is stacked right on top of everything else already, driving them higher. So the bottom line for our conversation today is pretty simple, right? At the end of the day, America is rearming. And the way you play it is simple. Follow the contracts. The war machine is being built around mass, speed, and software, and the government is funding it directly for years. This is not a fear piece, and it is not me cheering for war. It is a capital flow story. A multi-year, state-funded reindustrialization is happening right now. So watch the budget, watch the contracts, know who the players are, and understand the inputs, because that is where the money is going. And the system doesn't just create the buyers anymore, it is rebuilding the entire factory. If you liked what we heard, you talked a lot about this at Postcards from the Edge of the World, as well on Substack, and we are at Money Printer Pro at Money and the Money Printer on Substack. Me and the Money Printer is our free letter. Money Printer Pro is our paid letter that includes a live session every morning from 8:30 until 9 every day that the market is open. Once again, I'm Garrett Baldwin. Thanks for taking the time to dive into the world with me. And as always, stay positive.